welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at superfoods, things like chia seeds, goji berries, turmeric.
Yeah, they're everywhere, aren't they?
Totally. And we've got some really interesting material. It draws from, well, both scientific research and also this perspective our source calls Himalayan wisdom.
That's a great combination. You've got the sort of hard data and then this more traditional holistic view.
Exactly. So for you listening, our mission today is really to, cut through the noise a bit. Are these foods actually transformative for our modern lives? We're often stressed, busy.
Or is it maybe more marketing than miracle?
That's the core question. We're using this YouTube podcast script, Superfoods and Modern Life Science versus Hype. It lays out both sides pretty well.
Okay.
So yeah, what are the real benefits and where do the claims maybe get a little overblown? We want to understand the nuances.
Makes sense. So where should we start the science bit?
Yeah, let's start there. The basic idea, which seems pretty accepted, is that these foods have a really high concentration of nutrients.
That's the foundation, right? High nutrient density.
And the source gives specifics, citing actual studies, like turmeric. It mentions a 2017 study, Journal of Nutrition, I think.
Yeah, I saw that about curcumin.
Exactly,
Yeah.
curcumin. And its anti-inflammatory effects?
Which is a big deal for a lot of health issues. And then berries come up a lot, too.
Oh, definitely. The source points to Harvard studies linking antioxidants in berries to potentially slower brain aging.
Antioxidants are key. They help protect our cells from damage, basically. Does that make sense?
Then there's moringa. Did you see that part?
The miracle tree?
Yeah.
High in iron, vitamin C.
Yeah.
PLOS 1 in 2020.
Right, that's the one. Sounds pretty impressive.
It does. And goji berries, too. Beneficial for eyesight, apparently.
Yeah.
High in zeaxanthin.
Yeah, American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2021. But what I found interesting was the link to traditional Tibetan medicine.
It's fascinating when you see that overlap, isn't it? Ancient practices sort of validated by modern research suggests a long history of observation.
It really does. Like, they knew something was beneficial long before we could isolate zeaxanthin in a lab.
Exactly. And spirulina, that's another one.
Oh, yeah, the algae. High protein,
Right.
right? Like 60%.
Yep. And NASA even studied it for astronauts. European Journal of Nutrition, 2020. Efficient nutrition, you could say.
No kidding. Food for space travel. Then cacao, raw chocolate.
Ah, yes. Theobromine. Mood-boosting effects. Journal of Psychopharmacology, 2019.
And the source connects it to that Himalayan mystic quote, food for joy. I quite like that.
It's a nice touch. Captures the feeling, maybe.
And hemp seeds get a shout out too, for plant-based protein.
Complete protein, yeah. All 9 essential amino acids. Harvard Health mentioned that last year, I think.
Right, 2023. And finally, reishi mushrooms.
Ah, the adaptogens. Helping with stress, potentially lowering cortisol. Journal of Medicinal Food, 2021.
And it had that cool traditional name, mushroom of immortality.
That's it, from Taoist texts. Definitely adds some mystique.
So, okay, we've got this, really impressive list of potential benefits backed by studies.
Definitely sounds good on paper.
But, and this is crucial, the source also brings in that Himalayan mystic idea again, balance.
Right. No magic bullets.
Exactly. It's not like you can just eat a handful of goji berries and call it a day.
No. And modern science agrees. That Stanford meta-analysis from 2021, which the source mentions.
What's a meta-analysis again? Just combining studies.
Yeah, it looks at the results from lots of different studies together, gives a broader picture. And it basically said variety in whole foods matters more than just focusing on things labeled super.
Okay, so these foods can be beneficial, but they're part of a bigger picture.
Precisely. They work best within an overall healthy, diverse diet, not as a replacement for one.
Right. That makes sense. So we've seen the potential upside, the science, but that naturally leads to the other side of the coin, doesn't it? The hype.
The potential downsides or challenges.
Yeah. What does the source say about that?
Well, a big one is just cost.
Ah, yeah. They can be pretty pricey.
Very, especially since many are imported. You compare them to, say, local spinach or lentils or an apple.
Big difference. There's that quote in the source, attributed to the mystic again. Don't seek distant treasures when wisdom grows at your feet.
I like that.
The source had a nice line for that. The right food whispers, the wrong one shouts.
Pay attention to how things make you feel, not just what the label says.
Okay, so let's take an example. Golden milk. That turmeric and pepper drink.
Yeah, good example. The curcumin in turmeric is better absorbed with piperine from black pepper. So, yes, potentially good for reducing inflammation.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Well, The source emphasizes that the benefit is much greater if you're also doing other things, like cutting down on processed sugar, managing stress.
Ah, okay, so the golden milk helps, but it works best as part of a whole lifestyle shift. It's holistic.
Exactly, it's not working in isolation.
So let's circle back to our main question then. Are superfoods essential for modern life?
Based on this, I'd say yes, but with a big asterisk.
Okay. Explain the asterisk.
Yes, they can be valuable additions, offering concentrated nutrients, but only within the context of an overall conscious, balanced, healthy lifestyle.
They're not a shortcut.
Definitely not. They won't undo an otherwise unhealthy way of living. How do you personally integrate these things? How do you blend, traditional ideas about food, maybe from your own culture, with modern nutritional science? What does that balance look like in your life?
That's a great question to reflect on. Finding your own path through all the information and hype.
Exactly, your own personal wisdom.